It's on. Okay, let's go. The press and the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting. A copy of the same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the municipal website. Meeting will come to order. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please, Tom.
Mr. Becker.
Here.
Mr. Blumberg.
Here.
Mr. Talby.
Here.
We have before us the minutes of our March 6 meetings. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
And I'll second.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Blumberg.
Yes.
Talby.
Yes.
Is there any public comment? At this point, you may address anything.
Sewell, 22 West Drive, referring back to Mr. Werner's statement that fiscal responsibility is the most important job of elected officials. And if this indeed be the case, then I would most strongly urge this commission to follow through and not surcharge the taxpayers for your own individual follies or self-gratification. I think it's time to move forward in a more economically prudent, fiscally prudent manner. In fact, about a week or so ago, I ran into the retired fire chief in Ventnor, Dan Cahill, and he got off his bicycle and he thanked me profusely for not sending a letter to the Current or the press lampooning his dearly beloved cousin Jimmy. I said, Danny boy, I said, the wrong picture, the wrong mugshot was on the top fold of the Sunday Atlantic City Press. I said, your cousin had nothing to do with that affair. I said, it was the person who appointed the fiscally irresponsible people, the people who were not fiscally prudent, Mayor, to that board. And we're going to have another golden opportunity this Tuesday, Mayor, at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, where we're going to run into the Board of Estimate meeting, in which you'll have an opportunity to once again attempt, no matter how feebly, to live up to your oath that you took before a judge, not once, Mayor, but twice, whereby you swore a solemn oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of New Jersey. And in that Constitution, it clearly and expressly stipulates that education must be thorough and efficient. And I dare say that that Board of Education is light years short of thorough or efficient. In fact, Mayor, if you look at the stats from the New Jersey AST test, you'll see that the present 8th graders are 25% of the total class are not even proficient in basic mathematics. And yet the board wants to extend the superintendent for another 2 years.
15 seconds, John.
Well, Mayor, common sense would dictate you don't reward the people for not producing a thorough and efficient education. And I think there should be, number one, there should be a quid pro quo for granting your vote for the school budget, that the superintendent's contract not be extended, Mayor, that she either accept working under the old contract, which will give us greater flexibility so far as merger, consolidation, closing of a school, any one of those three options. And I think it's up to you, Mayor, to make it clear that you cannot continue down this path that does not live up to your solemn oath of abiding by the New Jersey State Constitution, demanding thorough and efficient education. We're not getting it, Mayor. And when 25% of those students can't do basic math, Mayor, guess what? They can't get into a prep school. And guess what? We got to pay another $80,000 to send them to that jungle over on the Black Horse Pike. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, John. Anyone else?
Sharon Simon, 424 Thurlow Avenue. Just a quick note, I wasn't necessarily telling that Steve Warner that I liked his article, and I certainly don't agree with, his letter, and I certainly don't agree with everything in it, but the part I read was what I agree with, and that is all I'm going to say on that note. We have a three-person commission, and that often because Mayor Becker and Commissioner Tobey often seem to be on different ends of whatever the topic may be. Commissioner Tobey and the concerned citizen groups tend to be on this one group side, and Commissioner Blumberg is seems to be more aligned with the general population and more concerned, or at least in a different manner, about lawsuits and taxes and projects and things like that. So, Mayor Becker, that leaves you right in the middle. And so, historically, since you've been in office, you've tended to take the position of trying, I guess, to make everybody happy, but not making a decision or a commitment. And that's happened now with the this particular issue. I don't believe that you agree that, in fact, I know you think Commissioner Tobey should apologize because you basically said so in one of the meetings that you would try to get that to happen. And so, you know, to just go with Commissioner Tobey for whatever reasons when your decision is really basically deciding whether or not the taxpayers are going to have to foot this bill. So I also feel the same way about the Shore Protection Plan, and that meeting tomorrow has nothing to do with us personally and Margate and Margate's issue. It is a meeting of a group of people who are already in the project, and as far as the DEP and the governor are concerned, we're in the project. They basically told you our election's no good, and you've basically not voiced one objection. You've gone to a meeting and you came back with a report with highlighted. The best part of the meeting is we found out that we don't have to pay the DEP for replenishing a contract. We already knew all that. We don't have to, except you can't put sand on the beach and then not replenish it. So you came back with nothing. And anyway, the bottom line is, I'm just going to read this part from my letter. With Tobey siding with those who wish to force this project upon us, and Blumberg siding with the voters, it is Mayor Becker who will choose the path we go down. Mayor Becker essentially handing our beach over to the state without even so much as voicing any real objection. Voting against the project was evidently not enough. Now residents need to speak up and compel the mayor to support our vote. The mayor holds the key to either validate or invalidate the democratic process, the voting process. Will he honor his pledge to do what is best for Margate, or will he fold under political pressure, which is what this is all about, political pressure, and turn the key to our beaches over to the state? At this point, it is the mayor, not the state, who holds Margate's future in his hands. Now, there was an interesting article in the press the other day about beaches and projects that are being funded by the state, and they're saying, hey, if you're using state money, then we have the right, we should have public access, we should have bathrooms, all the things that you have talked about up here, turning it into basically a public park where they control what we do and don't do on our beaches. It's very real, and it was in the press the other day. And people from Lushdie, if their tax money is being used to do these dunes and beach projects, then we have no more say over our beach at all. Access, bathrooms, it's public beach. Public money, public beach. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Gail Cohen, 9504 Ventnor Avenue. And I'm here as a Margate resident, but also as a member of the New Jersey Sierra Club. I just put on your desks, I put a sample resolution, municipal resolution supporting offshore wind. This is totally off topic. I don't think this has been brought up before, but I'd like you to consider being the first municipality along the New Jersey coast to support offshore wind and to press Governor Christie to put into motion the act that was signed into law 4 years ago now, the Offshore Wind Economic Development Act. I don't know if you saw in the news, Bradley Beach, as another coastal town, recently signed a put forward a municipal resolution saying that they do not want sonar testing off the coast. The federal government would like to have offshore drilling off of our coast, and the first step in doing offshore drilling is for the gas companies to come in with sonar testing, which can be very hazardous to marine life and also to our shore and beach communities. That's a different topic, but what I'd like to point out is, if we don't have wind farms off of New Jersey, we may very well have oil rigs, and I think I would rather have a wind farm than an oil rig. So I would just like you to consider the sample resolution I put before you. There's also a fact sheet regarding this offshore wind legislation that Christie signed in August of 2010. And I've also included, just to, for a little bit about me or just on topic, is an article I wrote to the Cape May Herald in answer to an article they had where regarding offshore wind and the BL England plant.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Kern. Anyone else?
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. It seems like finally the winter is breaking and a little bit of spring maybe in the air, and summer can't be far behind. Okay, and I think I speak for everybody in this room. We all love the beach, enjoy the time we spend in the water and in the sand and everything else. It's just great. But when you talk about the dunes, I had several meetings with the people for the DEP and the Army Corps, and the one engineer said to me that if you have dunes in Ventnor and you have dunes in Longport, you have to have dunes in Margate. There's just no other way. And like the analogy would be, if you build a castle, like a sand castle, a big sand castle, and then you put a hole, you knock down part of that sand castle, what's going to happen? Where's the water going to go? It's going to go in that hole, the lower hole. If Ventnor and Longport have dunes, we have to have dunes. This is only common sense. All the rest of this is just a bunch of air. And the state and the federal government have decided there's going to be dunes. So it's done. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Last chance. Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll
I'll make
that
the motion that we close public comment.
Second.
Mr. Becker? Yes. Blumberg?
Yes.
Dalby?
Yes.
Is there any public comment on resolutions?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. City Clerk, can you give us the number of that $10,000 spending folly?
Number of that particular resolution?
That particular resolution, we want to address it specifically.
Well, that one will be 75, but if I may, in order to try to clarify the agenda based on what happened in the work meeting, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, the last item apparently on everybody's agenda is 72, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, so 73, Rosie has now down here as the resolution that Commissioner Blumberg is putting up for the comments to the media and public regarding public employees. We're then going to go on the 2014 budget here, it's going to move down. After 73, we're going to go right to 74, which will be the amendment to the Sustainable New Jersey Grant resolution. Then 75 will be the awarding the contract to Barker for the previously discussed issue. And then we will have the budget hearing. And then at the close of the budget hearing, we'll have Resolution 76, which was left off the agenda, and that's an amendment, somewhat of a minor amendment that I'm sure Leon will explain when we get to the budget hearing. So those are the 4 items.
Well, then let us hearken back to number 75.
That's the contract.
That's the contract. 10 grand down the toilet for no legitimate reason, especially when time and the mayor's civil tact and civil capabilities and preaching about civility. I suggest that perhaps the mayor get off his duff and go over and speak to Gigi and Mr. Gallagher and Marketplace and sort of smooth the waters. I don't think there's a need to pass this today. It's not going to make a gigantic difference one way or the other. Mr. Commissioner Blumberg has put out a public apology. That public apology might even be accepted by Gigi, Mr. Gallagher, and Marketplace Realty. Why rush to spend $10,000 of money that's not yours, Mayor? I constantly remind you, the taxpayer dollars are not your ATM machine that you can tap back. It's time to stop this folly. And you just can't sit there and vacillate. It's not fair to the taxpayers. The election's a little more than 12 months off, Mayor. You want a reputation of offending citizens? Of holding them up to public ridicule and criticism? Is that what you're striving to run on, Mayor, come May of 2015? Is that what you want to be known for, Mayor? A mayor who can't be effective and can't take the helm, can't grab the stern and move forward on this matter? I don't think that this is complex. We don't need a lawyer. We need a civil mayor. And you keep harping on being civil. Well, why don't you put this in action, Mayor, and be civil to this woman? Be civil to this business. We're supposed to be pro-business. What in the world is the MBA for? Perhaps El Presidente.
Hey, are you going to start me again?
I'm going to start it again. Come up and take a swing, my friend. I like witnesses. Why don't we have people...
15 seconds, John.
Why don't we have people mediate and mitigate this problem? What's the point of having an MBA and a commission if we're not here to serve the public, Mayor? Thank you very much.
All right. Now, just for the record, I'm going to respond to Mr. Sewell, because I'm a very civil person. The day after this came to fore, I picked my butt up, as you would so call it, and went to see Gigi Rosenberger at Marketplace Realty and apologized. All the rest happened after that. So all these things that you're saying are just nonsensical as usual, John. Gigi would not accept an apology from me on behalf of the city, and so now we're involved with an attorney, and we have to move on. We have to deal with it.
You've got a 2-to-1 resolution here, Mayor. So you apologize. I think that might be acceptable, Gigi.
Well, anyone else care to talk about resolutions?
I also would like to talk about Resolution 75. But you did answer one of my questions. So there has been an attempt to try to resolve this. Mayor, you went over and apologized?
I did.
Okay. And so it seems now that the only thing that will cause us not to engage in a legal battle, or potentially in a legal battle, or the need to hire an attorney to determine what the legal battle is Commissioner Tarbee is the only one that they're willing to take an apology from.
I don't know if that's a true statement.
Well, that's what they said. They came in and they said it. It was said tonight. It is a true statement. Take my word for it. So now we're in a situation where we don't have to hire an attorney because Commissioner Tarbee could apologize. So she has to make the decision, is she going to stand on ceremony and pride or whatever it is and not apologize and cost taxpayers money? Doesn't matter if Solicitor Abbott took it or another attorney, it still costs money. That's not part, I believe, of Solicitor Abbott's contract. So the fact that we have to have a different attorney is not the issue here. So I'm asking Commissioner Tobey, no one's saying that you have to say that what you did was wrong, I don't think. I think what they're saying is that it damaged their reputation. And I think as a reasonable person, you could see why what was printed could damage their reputation. They're a business. And I think all they're saying is they want you to apologize that there may have been some information or not the full information that put out there that caused them to feel that people badly about their business. And I don't know why anybody wouldn't be willing to say that. Now, if we're going to pass this, and I also believe that we should wait 2 weeks and give Commissioner Tobey the opportunity to think about it, and maybe she could come up with an apology that she's comfortable with and that they're willing to accept. And if we're not going to do that, which I think is really at least wait 2 weeks and decide, I think that at a minimum, if we're going to pass this resolution, we need to know what we're hiring this attorney for. If we're hiring this attorney, the issue isn't whether there's wrongdoing or not. That's not what we're hiring the attorney to. The issue is they feel that their business has been disparaged and their reputation has been disparaged, and they want an apology. That's all this is about, this piece of it. It's, you know, if a lawyer or a court or a judge says, look, by putting this out, you have indicated that the public has felt that you did something wrong, then they get awarded.
15 seconds, please.
So, I mean, I think we have to be really clear. And Commissioner Tobey, if there's wrongdoing, you have every right to have it investigated, to make sure it doesn't happen again. But that's internal. That's your employees. The wrongdoing wasn't done by Marketplace. And I think that's all they're really looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mike.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner. I think the apology should be Commissioner Tobey. I'm sorry, Marketplace, you didn't pay. I'm sorry you didn't pay. And that's it. I'm sorry you didn't pay.
Any other comments? Did you have something? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Dalby?
Yes.
Tom?
We have the first reading of ordinance 2014-10, amending Chapter 75 for beaches and badges required. It's related to the military personnel, National Guard, etc. Second reading is April the 3rd at 5 p.m.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes, with comment. I want to thank former police officer and Detective John Oakes, a Margate resident, for pushing this forward and his support. So again, I vote yes.
Resolution, we're done with that one, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Resolution 67 authorizes the payment of claims and payroll.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
68 approves the plans and specifications for the 2012 CDBG beach bulkhead access.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
69 amends the 2014 temporary budget.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
70 authorizes emergency contract award to K&G Marine for the bulkhead.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
71 authorizes emergency contract award. I believe this was Garrison Enterprises for the Gladstone Avenue Water Tower, not to exceed $40,000.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
72, approves change order Scalfo Electric for the generator repairs at Station 2.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
73 is one of the four we added for policy for comments to media and public regarding public employees.
I'll make that motion.
Resolution fails for lack of a second. Number 74, resolution for amending the Sustainable New Jersey grant, and this is amending it to the $1,000, or somebody explain that to me?
I think we're acknowledging receipt of the $2,000 from
Is
the
this the
state.
amendment or is it acknowledging receipt? Do you know, Lisa, or no? Okay, so we're not amending it tonight?
We don't need to do that,
Okay.
that's my understanding.
So
I
this
think
is
we're done after
acknowledging receipt of the
this.
grant. Okay.
I make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
75, awards a professional service contract to Mike Parker, not to exceed $10,000.
Tom, I want to ask the opinion of the solicitor on this. I believe that, based upon all the discussion, that Commissioner Talby should not be allowed to vote here. I think she's conflicted. I don't think she should be able to vote on this. Scott, do you have an opinion on that? Being that it doesn't directly involve her and only her?
It's an interesting question you pose. No, I think it's city business. I think that she has the right to question what went on here. There was an issue. She's made statements. I think she can vote on it in her capacity as commissioner. I'm sure you're not going to agree with that, but I think she has the authority to vote, and that's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
All right, Tom, continue, please.
I'm sorry? I read the resolution, and now...
I make a motion that we accept.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
No.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Now is the budget hearing.
Okay, we will now have...
Finally.
Sorry about that, Leon. I'd like to introduce Leon Costello, who, this is our budget hearing. He will make a presentation, and then we'll open for public comment.
Okay,
Hi,
thank you,
Leon.
Mayor. The budget that is up for public hearing is the same one that was introduced. There will be one change after the public hearing, and that's just reallocating a revenue item from one spot to another spot. This was as of the state review. You are approved to adopt tonight, except since you're a type 1 school, you cannot adopt tonight because we have the Board of School Estimates hasn't met yet. They're meeting on the 25th. One number from the Board of School Estimates will go in your document, so we need that number before we can adopt. That will be on April 3rd is your next meeting, so you could adopt on April 3rd, providing that everybody's happy with the way the budget is right now. On April 3rd, it's just going to be a vote. There'll be no hearing. It's just going to be a vote to adopt the budget as presented in the past with the Board of School Estimates amount to be raised by taxation in it. The budget that you have does not have a tax increase. It fully funds everything that you intend to spend. There's no one-time items in it. There is adequate provisions made for all contracts that you have. You had a relatively good year in 2013. This budget will reflect that. You're going to have more fund balance left at the end of this budget than you did at the end of last year's budget, which was also a no tax increase. Margate's one of the few towns that is increasing the ratables, and you've increased them at a relatively decent amount the past year. So with that said, tonight is really the public's chance to comment on the budget. I'm here, Lisa's here to answer any questions the public may have. We are allowed to adopt, but we will not adopt because we don't have the information from the Board of School Estimates yet, which you'll have next Tuesday that we can include on the April 3rd meeting. Any questions from the commissioners before we open it?
I have none. Maury, do you have any questions? Brenda, any questions?
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the public?
I just have one question. How much is allocated in the budget for legal fees? Valid question, on point for this evening.
Legal is $325,000.
And what has been allocated in maybe the last 2 or 3 years?
Last year was $250, before that, I was
My understanding it was much lower in the last year, that it just keeps going up and up and up. And why do we have $365,000 budgeted for legal this year? That's a lot of money.
Is that over and above our solicitor fees, just out of curiosity?
It's including our solicitor fees. We were required, there was settlement of litigation from a prior year, which we're responsible for paying, so that's included in there. Plus, we're currently in other litigation, and there's an unknown number there, so that was also factored in.
How much was budgeted for Rappahannock? Because I know he doesn't have a contract right now. We're waiting for the budget to be able to give him another contract.
Well, it's included in the lump sum.
So there's an extra $100,000 in there for Rappahannock?
No, it's not specifically for that attorney, it's for representation for all our litigation.
And this year, we're going to need a lot of money, right? Because we have a lot of representation. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. I understand back in 2011, Ford Scott afforded 2 of the commissioners accountancy prep courses or prep reviews, or based upon running a more efficient and thorough business of government in Margate. And my question is, if this commission, year after year, refuses to abide by the statutory requirement in NJSA for thorough and efficient education, where there is enormous redundancy, where there's a refusal to share services, to consolidate services, my question to you is, are they living up to the statutory requirement? And should they not explore ways to comply with the state law? That's a question to Ford Scott.
I don't know what they are exploring shared services, or my concern about exploring shared services. That's not up to me.
I understand that, but my question is,
They're not violating any state statutes if they don't explore shared services.
if
Statute says you must explore shared services and appease the public exploring shared services.
But if there is a statutory provision that calls for thorough and efficient, and it's thoroughly inefficient and thoroughly not thorough, my question to you is, are they not failing in their duty to the taxpayers to seek ways to run the school system more efficiently? We're running close to 30,000. Well, that's the budget, because we're waiting for the Board of Estimate.
John, try again. You have
Try again.
Try again.
We're finished for the day, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Are there any other questions or comments from Mr. Costello?
I'll make a motion, we close. I'm sorry, Leon. I'll make a motion, we close.
Public comment?
Correct.
And I'll second that. Thank you,
Becker?
Leon.
Yes?
Blumberg?
Yes.
Talby?
Yes.
Okay, Leon?
Now, we have the motion for the amendment, which I explained briefly. It was just you had some leftover Sandy money that the state wants us to anticipate. We're anticipating that money and reducing the amount of fund balance that we're reusing. That's what the amendment that you should have before you is doing.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second that.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Okay. Now, April 3rd, you can adopt your budget with...
Right.
I'll make a motion that we close the meeting.
Thank you, Leon. Second?
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Talby?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. Well, most of you.